This is step 2 for all of my middle school art 1-point perspective city projects. You have already your 4 objects. You have your letter or number, object with a curve, and your 2 overlapping objects. The second step is we are going to draw orthogonal lines using the 3 rules of perspective from all points and curves. The points are where 2 lines intersect. It does not matter what type of line it is, as long as it is where 2 lines intersect. To start this, we're going to align our ruler. You will need an eraser, a pencil, and a ruler. You're going to align your ruler to the vanishing point and to the points of your objects. And you're going to draw straight lines from your objects to your vanishing point. That is the first rule of orthogonal lines or perspective. The second rule is we do not draw over any objects. So even though we are going to draw from points, since we don't draw over any objects, we're not going to draw this point at all. Once we go to the next point, we're going to draw this one straight from this point to the vanishing point. Now, the last rule of perspective is we're going to go from a point towards the vanishing point, line it up, and if we hit a line of any kind before we get to the vanishing point, we stop here. We don't skip over the object, and we don't go through the object. We don't write over the object. We line it up to the object and the vanishing point. We draw it until we hit the object, and then we stop. When it comes to the curves, we line it up to our vanishing point, and we turn it until we touch the curve. We put our pencil on that object, making sure that our vanishing point is touched also, and then we draw from that curve to the vanishing point. We also do the back parts of curves. So we go from this point, line it up with the vanishing point, and draw it from this curve. Another curve here, line it up with both this curve and the vanishing point, and draw it here. We keep going, no points, can't draw over any objects until we get to the back edge of this point. So if you notice, from the curves we do the front curve and the back curve. So if this was a circle, you would only need 2 lines. From here you have a curve here and a curve here. This will be the back curve, this will be a front curve, so you have 2 additional lines. If you notice that between our lines, if you have a line going towards here and it does not have a point or a back curve or a front curve, you should not have a line that impacts this image at all, or this object at all. So we keep going from here. This point to the vanishing point. This point to the vanishing point. As long as you can see space in between, it stops there. This point, this point, it goes over the object. This one goes over the object. This one goes over the object. So we skip to the next one that does not go over to the object. We line it up to the vanishing point. front curve, lined it up to the vanishing point, front curve, lined it up to the vanishing point, stops when it touches a line. Where two lines converge, this is an actual point right here. So be careful when you're doing your overlapping shapes to make sure you get that point. These points are both overlapping into each other, so you don't use any of these points at all. You go to this point, make sure it goes to the vanishing point, it hits a line, it stops. You go to the back curve, there's one curve here, and there's one curve here. Make sure it aligns to the vanishing point. So when you're done, it should look like this. Back curve, point, front curve. There's nothing impacting the image or the object in the middle between a curve and a point. Now, this one is an actual point, so I missed this one. And go from this point to the vanishing point. Curve, and you're always going to double check to make sure that these lines are correct. Now, once you've done this to all of your objects and all 4 of your quadrants, you will upload your project into Canvas again for credit for step 2.